So hello, everyone. Welcome to our September Atlassian community event co-hosted by the New York ACE community leaders here, as well as the Toronto group. So we're happy to be bringing both communities together and we'll have a very exciting night. It's good to see some familiar faces as well as some new ones. Tonight, we'll be doing a Point A spotlight, giving you all an overview of the program, and we'll be taking a deep dive into Team Central, which is currently in beta and is also part of Point A. So we have a full agenda filled with Atlassian speakers, and then some quiz and some prizes towards the end. So we first heard about Atlassian's new program, Point A, during the Team 21 back in April, and we're excited to be kicking off a discussion and deep dive into the various products that are offered in this program, and starting with Team Central as mentioned. So Atlassian's Claire, Mary, and Vivian will be sharing the virtual stage to cover these topics and answer all of your burning questions. So be sure to pay close attention to these presentations, as they may help you win some prizes at the end. So in partnering with the Toronto ACE this evening, we're excited to be introducing Slido, which is a platform we'll be using to collect all of your questions throughout each of the presentations, as well as hold our quiz at the end. So here we're showing you a QR code to get you access to the portal from your mobile device if you want to participate that way, or you can get access to Slido through your computer by going to slido.com and entering the code that you see here. We also have it pasted into the Zoom chat, so you can also click on it from there, and that'll get you right into the environment. So at the conclusion of each presentation, we'll jump over to Slido. I'll kick it over to Dave at that point, see if there's any questions that pertain to that topic. And we welcome everyone to take advantage of the Zoom chat to connect with each other. But any questions that you have, we'd like those to go into the Slido queue. So we have it up here. Feel free to take a snap of the code and enter the room. And then with that, as mentioned, stick around for your chance to win some awesome prizes courtesy of our sponsors. A big thank you to Blended, who's supplying a large collection of gifts for their swag store. So that's wonderful, wonderful news. Unfortunately, the partners can't win any prizes, but they're more than welcome to take a stab at the questions. They are pretty challenging, so we'd like to see how everyone does. So as again, thank you to all of our sponsors, and we appreciate their continued support of our community. And for those who aren't part of our online community and are interested in connecting more, become a member there, receive updates and upcoming events within the New York events, as well as Toronto. I know that we're showing our stuff here from New York, but Toronto has a great online space as well. And at this point, we'll stop sharing all the announcements, and I'll hand it over to Claire for an overview of Point A.
Great. Thanks so much for that introduction. And I wish you all luck on the quiz at the end. Let me just get my prepared. Oh no, I think I just shared the wrong screen. Hold on. Do you see the correct screen?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Claire. I have been at Atlassian for almost 8 years, working on various marketing teams at Atlassian. I think I've worked on every product at Atlassian in some capacity, and now have the privilege of leading our go-to-market teams behind our new Point A program, which I'm here to talk to you about today. Let's click. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Point A program, sort of the process that we use internally. So you may be able to take some of these things back to your team and learn how to sort of build your own innovation programs for your own company. I'll also talk to you about why we launched the program externally and sort of the value and benefits to you. I will introduce you to our cohort 1 new products, and then I'll leave some time for Q&A at the end. And then after that, Vivian and Mary will go into a much deeper dive into Team Central, one of our Point A products. So as you probably know, Atlassian's mission is to unleash the potential of every team. So we really need to look and invent the way the world is going to work in the future. So modern teamwork is evolving, and that means our portfolio of products really has to evolve as well. We need to sustain long-term growth, and we need to innovate. Even in spite of some of the global headwinds that are happening in the world today, a lot of our customers really count on us to lead them through these changes. And we have to take a lot of bets, and we have to take a lot of swings and see what works before we find sort of that sweet spot. So part of the way that we do this at Atlassian is trying to sort of channel the innovation from our whole company. We believe that ideas and innovation come from everywhere across the company. And at Atlassian, we have sort of a number of ways that we help our team explore and advance those ideas. So you'll see the list on the right. They sort of cover a spectrum of rigor and process, starting with sort of the least structured way we do this, which is Ship It, which you may have heard of. That's our 24-hour hackathon, where teams come together and they really can build anything. We invite everyone in the company to participate in this. An interesting example is Jira Service Management started as a Ship It project called Viewport. It was an add-on that was built on Jira, and now it has flourished into a product probably some of you use today. And then all the way down on the list, we have our most formal one now, Point A. And when I say formal, I mean we have sort of a framework with phases. Teams are really trying to find product market fit, business model fit. They have maturity goals that they go through. And really all of these programs are supported by that A. Really Atlassian's culture of being open and creative and really encouraging that innovation, but also encouraging our customers to participate with us. And there's sort of a flavor of that in each of these. But today I'm going to really focus on Point A. So Point A is our program for building the next generation of products that power the future of teamwork. So this was launched in 2021. We launched this Point A program, and it's really to help us connect our early adopter customers with our product teams to build those tools for the future of teamwork together. So rather than launching sort of a traditional corporate incubator, we've introduced this sort of company-wide internal program where any employee can pitch an innovative idea. And if they're selected, the founding teams are supported with funding and resources to bring them to market. So the ultimate goal of Point A is to really nurture these products from concept to customer. And I'll touch on sort of the framework that we use a little bit in a moment. But first, maybe you might be asking, you know, why Point A? Why does Atlassian do this? And why would companies like yourselves maybe be interested in building a type of program like this? So first off, we really need to balance our portfolio. We have a bunch of existing products, which many of you use, and naturally products have you know, a life cycle. So we need to sort of balance that and ensure that we have new products replacing our maturing products over time. And we really look at our product portfolio over sort of a standard horizon, 1, 2, and 3. So in that first horizon, we're sort of enhancing our existing products, trying to sort of defend and harvest sort of our core business. And then in that second horizon, we're really trying to extend products. So we're trying to find new products, new customers, and new audiences. And then lastly, in that third horizon is really exploring net new markets. What are the sort of disruptive big ideas in this search for growth that we can sort of tap into? And I would say Point A probably sits between horizon 2 and 3. And then secondly, we really want to embrace that entrepreneurial DNA within Atlassian. So every company has sort of pioneers that are not afraid to sort of lose sight of the shore and try something new and be really creative and bold. We want to embrace and inspire those people and keep them working at Atlassian. So we really want, even in failure, we want these pioneers to really be the model of innovation at Atlassian, and we want to reward them for having that sort of outlook. And then lastly, we want to systematize and sort of de-risk product innovation. So ideas are really easy, right? But building products are really hard. So we want to, discover and kind of reinforce these principles and processes that help us systematically like bring innovation to market. So if you think about a large organization like Atlassian, and you think about the structure that we have, it's really geared towards our mature products, right? And not really geared towards new products in very early stages. So we need to build that muscle. So part of point A is building sort of the practices and establishing what's going to nurture new ideas and get those to market. So we talk about this internally a lot, is like the first product that we're building within point A is point A itself, the program. So over the last year and a half, we've been sort of building this program as we launch new products. And we're going to continue to sort of learn and refine this program as we go and change some of those sort of structures within Atlassian. So I'm going to quickly go through this because there's kind of a lot here, but some of the core principles of point A is that it's a framework and not an incubator. So we believe, ideas really come from all over the company. We don't want to just house them in one sort of business unit. And we use this framework, which I'll touch on, with sort of stages and gates that help these founding teams sort of find problem solution fit, product market fit, business model fit. We really favor the founder over the idea. We believe that like the founding team has so much passion around a problem that we think that that is actually more important than the idea itself. The idea is likely to change and be molded over time, but we really want to find those people in Atlassian that are passionate about building. We think about products, not features. So when a team comes to us and says they want to pitch an idea, we ask them, is this a feature? Is it a product? Is it a company? Or is it a new market? And we really favor the latter. Looking forward, we really want to expand and create a brand new market, as we did sort of 20 years ago with Jira. And then we definitely want to use Atlassian's advantage. So we have both sort of R&D knowledge and a platform. We have customer distribution sort of built in. And we want to make sure that these products can easily use those components to quickly build products and get those products to customers very quickly. So that's our sort of advantage. And we really want to be sort of encourage pirates. We call the founding team pirates. Each of them gets sent a pirate flag when they join point A. And that's really all about kind of like breaking the mold and breaking some of the systems that we have in place while still living our values, of course, but to really make sure that we're advancing how Atlassian works within some boundaries, but sort of ask for forgiveness, not permission, I guess, is our slogan. And also being prepared to fail. I think last year went through about 35 plus ideas in that first cohort, and 30 plus of them didn't go to market. So we still want to celebrate those wins, and we want to honor the people that came and tried, even if the product didn't move forward. So I'll give you kind of a sneak peek into the framework that we use. Sort of, so you can see it moves left to right. So teams will sort of move through this wonder, explore, make impact and scale as their idea matures. And then before moving to the next phase, these teams will sort of present to our product leadership team, and the teams will agree whether they move to the next phase or not. And this is also to give you sort of a picture of what you might expect when you see a product labeled with alpha, beta, and GA, where they are in this process. So alpha products, or sorry, when a team reaches make, this is really where they're going to build their MVP. So the first sort of MVP that they're going to come out to in market, and they're going to look for product market fit. So alpha products are really intended for prospective customers to try out the product and ensure they sort of function as expected. And then the product teams are going to be collecting a lot of feedback, working hand in hand with customers. So alpha products typically have a wait list, meaning you'll have to sign up, and then the product team will actually sort of self-select the early adopters, authenticate you, and sort of handhold you through the product. So that's what you should expect if you see a product labeled with alpha. You'll probably be expected to talk to the product team when you're using the product. So once they reach product market fit, then they move to the impact phase. And this is where they're going to try to prove business model fit. Will someone actually pay to use this product or a variation of this product? So beta products are they are ready for GA, pending some fine tuning. They sort of function as expected, maybe have a few bugs, but beta programs really allow us to test out the product with a wider set of users. And then they can sort of closely monitor that quality and make some of those adjustments before they go and launch GA. So if you see a product labeled with beta, you can expect sort of frequent changes and updates to the product, but that core functionality will probably stay the same. And then after that, they will launch a GA. And at that point, they still stay in the Point A framework or Point A sort of team until they get to a state where they're sort of ready to graduate. And then they'll move into the appropriate business unit that makes sense for them. But throughout this entire life cycle, Point A teams are constantly talking to customers, even with the initial interviews to understand user problems, all the way through to testing alpha and betas. And our early adopters really provide that critical insight so we can iterate and work on these products quickly. So I've talked a lot about Point A internally, and I'm sure you're wondering, well, what's in it for me? Why did you guys launch this externally as a brand, right? So we launched this sort of umbrella brand Point A on Atlassian.com earlier this year. And really the reason was to give customers sort of one place to go to try and explore new products from Atlassian. We know there are certain customers that really are eager to try our latest and greatest, and they want to try alpha products. We know we have customers that maybe just want to try a beta or maybe even just GA, but it gives you a way to sort of find and discover these new products, especially when we start to have more and more. We sort of want one place to sort of corral them all. The second reason is we want to build a community of early adopters and product teams and build that sort of connection. So it's really easy to get that feedback, find those early adopters, and ask questions of product teams. And then lastly, probably most important, is we really want to build that trust and set expectations for what you can expect when you try an alpha or a beta. Today, I gave you sort of an example of what to expect, but over time, we want this page, we want to educate our users on what to expect when they're trying these products so that your your level of maturity or sort of readiness to try an alpha, you're not sort of thrown off by that. But really, what's in it for you? So I would say the best thing about sort of engaging with Point A and some of the products is you're going to get to see sort of the latest cloud technology from Atlassian and realize that value early. At the same time, you get to sort of partner with the product team and shape the future of these products. So you can provide that insight into what your team needs and let us know what's going to be more valuable for your team. And then lastly, and maybe most importantly, is all of these products are built on a unified cloud platform. So this means that all the capabilities and components within these products are very familiar to your users. If you're already using Atlassian, you're going to understand sort of the sort of look and feel, the capabilities, everything is sort of connected. And so these experiences become sort of seamless across your stack. But without further ado, I will introduce, I'll briefly introduce our cohort 1 products that you may have heard about at Team 21 last year, but I'll give you sort of a sneak peek. Okay, so Jira Work Management, that launched GA in April at Team 21. So Jira Work Management really helps business teams like finance, marketing, legal, move work forward by serving as sort of one place where they can track, coordinate, and manage all aspects of their work. And because it's built on Jira, Jira Work Management really connects non-technical users to those R&D and IT teams that are using Jira software or Jira Service Management today. So that's going to sort of increase that visibility into work, build powerful reporting, and a lot of that cross-org collaboration. Within Jira Work Management, there are sort of new views that are designed specifically for business teams like lists, calendar, timeline, board, and forms. And it offers sort of an easier user interface, like for business teams to get started, including templates. They use business terminology, so they call things issues instead of, or sorry, tasks instead of issues. So that can really sort of increase the speed of adoption for your business teams. They've had a ton of momentum since launch. So if you did go and check them out at Team 21, I would definitely recommend going back and seeing what they've done so far. The team is really, moving along quickly, and we're super excited about Jira Work Management. Of course, Team Central Beta. I'm not going to go too much into Team Central because you're going to hear so much more from Vivian and Mary in the next presentation. But I will say, as a leader across many different products at Atlassian, Team Central has really been a game changer for me. If you haven't tried it yet, it just offers one place for me to quickly see the progress of my team's projects and goals. And even better yet, I can sort of search across any person or team at Atlassian, and I can find their Team Central projects and goals, and I can just track what's important to me really quickly and really easily. But I'm not going to spoil too much more about Team Central. And then Jira Product Discovery. So this one is in alpha, but they're very close to launching beta. They provide sort of product teams with one place to capture ideas and data to build better products. So imagine a product manager, they can sort of consolidate a bunch of user feedback and data from anywhere. They have a Chrome extension that works on any sort of browser, and they can capture those ideas. They prioritize them into sort of a list, and they can use different tools to mark the sort of importance of different ideas and data points. It offers a way for you to collaborate with stakeholders and sort of keep them informed of the decisions being made. And then the best part is that Jira Product Discovery is so integrated with Jira that once you sort of land on an idea that you want to send to your development team, it's sort of a seamless move from discovery to delivery in Jira software. And then Help. Help was actually a recent acquisition that we made last May. We decided to put it into the Point A program to sort of nurture the growth of help over time. They were still in pretty early stages. But basically, Help is a messaging native help desk that helps you provide help directly in Slack and now Microsoft Teams. So it seamlessly integrates with Slack and Microsoft Teams, and it makes request management, like asking IT for help with a laptop, very conversational and delightful. You never actually have to move out of a Slack or Teams if that's what you use. Very awesome product. We see a lot of momentum here, especially for teams that maybe aren't as technical or don't need a super robust ticketing system. They can easily set up Help and get started and not need sort of the robustness of Jira Service Management, although it does integrate with Jira Service Management if you just want sort of the Slack or Microsoft Teams integration. And then lastly, Compass, which is also in alpha. This connects Teams, software components like services, APIs, documentation, insights, and policies all into one place. So it sort of tries to guide organizations through the challenge of sprawl. So the ever growing mass of output that a modern distributed team generates, by giving software development teams that sort of bird's eye view of digital services across their organization. So you can find all of these at Atlassian.com/.A. So I would really encourage you to go give them a try, and also, look out for more. Cohort 2 is actually preparing to launch alpha very, very soon, and we're having our pitch day to kick off our cohort 3 in October. So lots more to come. I know that was a lot already, but yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that might have popped up during the presentation. I'll just stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Claire. Very exciting stuff to see there, and thank you for the refresher on a few of those items from the Team 21. I forgot about the Compass and the product discovery. So it looks like we do have a few questions here. Thank you, Danny, for doing the screen share. So look at the first three. Oh yeah, test server. So a test server instance. What do teams test out of these products in the cloud? How does that work with respect to access, security, integrations, etc.?
Awesome. Yeah, great question. So basically, when you think in the cloud, we don't have sort of testing instances. What I would actually recommend if you do want to go and try out one of these new products is to sort of spin up a cloud account, sort of a dummy cloud account, like test.atlassian.com, and try to get it installed. Basically, it's free to set up from Atlassian.com. For an alpha product, you would basically sign up for the wait list. You would work hand in hand with the product team, and they can authenticate sort of this test account for you. For beta products, the requirement is actually that they are self-serve. So you could actually just go and sign up with this new sort of dummy account and go and play around with, Team Central or any of our other beta products. And then as far as security, so we hold all of our Point A new products to the same sort of security and privacy standards as our regular sort of more mature products. So you can learn more about that. I think it's Atlassian.com/trust. You can read all about our sort of security standards, and then access. So basically for access, you would do the same sort of user access that you do today. It's admin.atlassian.com, and you can sort of add users to these products that are in beta, just as you would any other product. It'll all be integrated into the same user interface that you're sort of familiar with today. I will say for alpha products that may not be integrated, you would then sort of work hand in hand with the product team that's going to sort of self authenticate you, and you can sort of let them know which users you want to have access to your products. And then sort of, as I mentioned, all of these products are using the same platform capabilities as our other products. So they're sort of going to benefit from all the advantages of the platform that we are building today via other teams, which is great.
That's awesome. In terms of setting up a test account, so creating just a dummy environment, that doesn't close down after like the 14-day trial period. That's sort of open for as long as they would want to test. Is that correct?
Yeah, so all of these products are free to use. All of them are in beta, so there is no sort of trial period. So you'd have as much time as you need.
Nice. Looks like one from Samantha on how friendly is look like from protected health information. It's like looks like compliance.
So yeah, so the compliance standards would be sort of the basic compliance standards that we have at Trust, sort of similar to that security question. If you go there and sort of look at what Atlassian standards are, all of our Point A products would be, I don't know specifically what the standard is on PHI. You'd have to go and look at our Trust account, but yeah, same sort of standards across the Atlassian mature products.
Okay. Looks as though maybe the next two questions are sort of paired together. In terms of cohort 1 and cohort 2, does that sort of fall in lines of what other tools we could expect to come out of the Point A program?
Okay, so what other tools can you expect to make their way? Yeah, so as I mentioned, sort of the products that we're really looking for to build in Point A are really helping us extend Atlassian. So you can think of products that might help us reach a new audience. So think of Jira product discovery, right? We already have software teams working in Jira, but we've never had a product that's like really specifically built for a product manager. So specifically, or especially for teams that are adjacent to the teams that we already have, you can really expect that we might build a particular tool to help meet their needs. However, I would say in the future, we are trying to sort of be a little bit bolder, right? Enter new markets and really sort of start exploring some other opportunities that might be, outside of the existing markets that we have today. I would say, so yeah, definitely expect sort of similar products to what cohort 1 offered as we try to reach these new audiences and sort of like round out Atlassian's portfolio. But you might see us making some sort of bigger bets in new markets in the future, or that's at least what we hope.
It's very exciting stuff. So when you talk about cohort 1 and cohort 2, is that sort of like a package of tools that Atlassian teams are putting together, and is that sort of like the internal discovery process that they take?
Yeah, I think it's just an internal name. Basically, we have different, throughout the year, we'll have 3 different sort of pitch days where we ask collectively for people to come up and pitch their idea. And then we sort of go through those 35 ideas and we select 5. So last year, there were 35 ideas, and then you've seen that 5 launched in the last year. We did the same thing more recently, had another pitch day. And we selected 3 from that pitch day. So that was cohort 2. So basically, I wouldn't worry about cohort 1 and cohort 2, that sort of terminology. It basically just means that that was like sort of these were the first cohorts, what I shared with you today, and then we'll have future cohorts. But there's not really any relation between them, just that they started at the same time.
I see.
I would pay more attention to the sort of alpha beta labeling to make sure, that's the product that you want to be signing up for or sort of ready for.
Okay. I see one coming in here from Madhu saying, is there any products coming to the data center folks?
For now, this is only for our cloud products. I think similarly to sort of what we do for most of our products, they start sort of with cloud, and then as these products mature, we'll evaluate whether that they would be a good fit for data center. But yeah, for now, nothing coming up for data center.
Okay. And we have another question here about Jira Work Management, and what tool did the marketing team use before that? So was it Trello, was it Confluence, or was it Jira?
Is that like our marketing team internally, I assume?
Yeah, that was just, I was just curious because you mentioned it and I've seen the marketing teams speak about that. So just very curious about that.
Yeah, I actually think it sort of depends. So we have marketing teams at Atlassian that use agile methodologies like our design team and also like our web development team. So they actually just use Jira software. We have marketing teams that use Jira Service Management if they work in kind of a queue-based fashion. But yeah, a ton of our teams use Trello. I think probably every team that I know at Atlassian uses Trello in some capacity. So yeah. And Confluence. Everyone uses Confluence at Atlassian. Sometimes I wonder if I ever left Atlassian, like what I would do if the company didn't use Confluence, because all of my work and sort of knowledge is all saved in our instance of Confluence. I would be lost.
So much Confluence.
I would be lost without it.
And looks like we have two more questions here before we round up the point overview. So how do you select for diversity in your beta user selection?
Oh, that's a great question. So actually beta users, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but one of the requirements to launching beta is actually a self-serve sign up, meaning that it's an open beta. So anyone can go and sign up. I think most product teams know exactly the target audience that they're intending for. And so marketing's job is to try to go and identify those early adopters, the people that this is going to be sort of most valuable for, and invite them. We definitely want to have a mix of sort of small to mid to enterprise size companies. A lot of enterprise companies might not feel confident trying sort of an early stage alpha product, or maybe they'll do it in a pilot sort of off of their main instance. So really we are trying to sort of find the right audience at that beta stage, because we want to make sure sort of our hunches are correct in sort of the target audience. I think that answers the question, but basically we'll sort of expand the beta over time and test with a wider and wider audience. It's not really like a big bang sort of release where we're trying to get a ton of users. We really want to keep the volume small actually in those early stages and see what works until we go wider.
Okay. Self-serve. We use Team Central on our end at my company. So when we get into that, we can dive more into it. But yeah, it was really easy to sign up for it and get some access. So that's wonderful. And the last question we have here is from Samantha. Created a legal business project in Jira software. Seems to be some issues. Okay. But it doesn't populate tickets properly. Any plans or updates? So this might be like a technical question.
Technical question. Business project. But there are some.
Can I just ask this in person?
Yeah.
I just came across it, and I'm very happy that I discovered it. Because it's very different from service desk and software management.
Right.
And I think it's a great product. But I think there needs to be some work that needs to be done that is kind of something primary within this product, like populating the board. So it is clear that I have created the tickets, but you just don't see it in the board. And I actually created a support ticket for this.
Okay.
So this is, so I think it's like I don't know, somehow on the back end side, it's just
Mhm.
not doing it
Popular.
correctly. Yeah. And when I tried this in the sandbox, the ticket showed up on the board like 2, 3 days after. So, so you want to, the whole thing is that you want to be able to see the tickets on the board immediately after you create the ticket, right? So again, I have a support ticket open. No one got back to me. So
Okay.
I just wanted to see, I mean, I understand it's a point A thing, but maybe you have some update. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that issue specifically, but I'd be happy to follow up, Samantha. If you want to just shoot me maybe in the chat, you can just shoot me the ticket and I can definitely
Yep.
follow up. I'm pretty close with the PM on that side and the product marketer. So
Yeah.
I can definitely help you get help.
Yeah. I really like the product and I hope
Good.
that there will be a great success with this. And also there's a form on you can create forms.
Yep.
So you can only create one form.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, which is very, very unfortunate. So
Yes,
that's
I
something
definitely-
that you guys need to work on.
Yes, that feedback I have heard and the team is looking into that so that you can create more than one form for one project.
Yeah, okay, so I'm sending you the ticket. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Samantha.
Awesome. Thanks, Samantha. Thanks, Claire. Look at that. The wonderful things we can do at a community event of bringing support tickets to life. I love it. We're making some good time here. The next, if there are no other questions or comments from everyone here, we can certainly turn our attention over to the Team Central.
Just want to put one comment. Claire, I really loved how you gave the internals of how the Point Day program was kind of created. That's great. As a product manager, it was really nice to see kind of the innovation. And it seems like you folks are going to come up with a lot more products. I think it's going to be a real headache for the admins, right? Which product do I choose and how do I get integrated in? But really interesting view of the Point Day program. So I just wanted to comment on that. I really like that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's been quite a journey to build the program at the same time as building the products, especially cohort 1. So we're refining it as we go. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Claire. So next we'll turn it over to Vivian, who will give us a deep dive of Team Central.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna share my screen right now and get myself set up. Alrighty. And let's see. There we go. All right, can everyone see that screen? Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, so hello, everyone. Again, thank you for the invitation to speak with this wonderful community right here. My name is Vivian, and I actually recently joined Atlassian only 2 months ago. And I'm so excited to have this opportunity to give everyone a deeper dive into Team Central, as Claire has hinted at. Also on this call is Mary, Team Central's marketing lead, and she'll be helping me during the Q&A portion of the presentation as well. So yeah, like many of you, I'm a super fan of Atlassian products. Man, I wish I knew about this community and events like this earlier in my career. I've been an unofficial Jira and Confluence evangelist at the startups that I've worked at previously. And yeah, I've loved customizing my Jira workflows, my project statuses to manage my marketing teams and sprints. And what made me excited, particularly about Team Central, is that it helps solve a real problem I've experienced. I don't know about you, but at my old job, I definitely have days where I'd look up and think, how is it Thursday already? Oh my gosh, like what have I even done this week? So I'd have tons of recurring meetings, Slack pings, and emails to reply to. It just can get really noisy. Who else here can relate? So yeah, look, I just wanted to have the time and space to think and do the deep work of marketing that I love to do. But there's always something or someone to interrupt you just when you want to focus. Trust me, I work from home and I have a 6-year-old, so I know a thing or two about interruptions. On top of that, I really dreaded having to do the work about work, like sharing project updates, because again, it felt more like an interruption. So as a team lead in my last company, I had to write a weekly status update email since it was a company-wide ritual. And some of us linked to a running spreadsheet, others wrote a new email each week. The format and lengths were all different, so most, but not all, were sent weekly, so you'd receive a smattering of updates every Friday through Wednesday. This got way more noisy when we went from 100 employees to over 400 in a very short amount of time. With so many new people joining, I no longer knew everyone and what they did, and vice versa. I tried to keep up with all the other teams' weekly updates, but honestly, it was harder than ever to reach that elusive inbox zero. Other teams stopped sending them weekly and adopted their own cadence, or maybe it was truly random because I never figured it out. And yep, all of this is happening during a global pandemic, which means I'm no longer in the same office with my coworkers, and making it that much harder to feel connected and in the know at work. All right, so when I first learned about Team Central, I was excited. Immediately, I thought, yeah, we need help managing our status reports and communications across teams. But like some of you here today, I also had questions. How do I use this with Jira? Does Team Central only work if everyone else at my company uses Atlassian products? Will it really help cut down the noise about work and let me focus on actually working? Spoiler alert for
Vivian,
that
I
last.
think we lost the presentation, or was that
Oh,
just
no.
me?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's
Can
still
I-
in presentation mode.
Yes, I was just about to mention that I wasn't sure
Okay,
either.
thanks.
Okay, let
Thanks,
me
Mary.
redo that. I'm sorry about that. Here, let me just set myself up again. Here we are.
There we go.
Yes, I
Are we
see it.
back?
There. Yes, yes.
Okay, phew. I'm so sorry about that. All right. I was just saying, giving you a spoiler alert. Okay, right. So yeah, we think it can help cut down the noise at work and let you focus on actually working. All right, so before I jump into the product, I want to first address the why behind Team Central. And as Claire had mentioned, you've heard this before. At Atlassian, we believe that when work is open, we can unleash the full potential of all teams. So when it comes time to communicate across teams, it really helps to share a common language and guardrails for effective collaboration. So what do I mean by guardrails? Three things: format, length, and cadence. I think all three really helps to make ingesting information predictable and easy to digest. That's what my last company had trouble with, and that's where Team Central can help. So I'm curious, actually, with a show of hands over those who are on video, I'm going to ask two really quick questions about who mostly reads or writes updates. So first, raise your hand if this describes you. Who here mostly reads updates? Nice. Cool, cool. All right, second question. Who here mostly writes updates? All righty. So that's really interesting. I think both readers and writers are going to get excited about what I'm about to show you. All righty, let's start with those of us who mostly read updates. All right, picture this. It's Monday morning and the weekend's behind you, and you're a bit hazy on all the things that have happened in the last week. What's the first thing that you're going to do? Who here checks their email first? Probably a lot of us, or at least it'll be one of the first things, right? So what is that like? I'm going to guess it goes something like this. You're scrolling through your inbox and picking out which emails have the updates you actually need to read. Then you hop over to Slack or MS Teams to catch up on messages there. Maybe you're logging into Confluence or Jira to see the latest comments, changes, and updates. That's a lot of curating and switching around tools that you have to do. Okay, do you know what Mike Cannon-Brookes does every Monday morning? He reads his Team Central email. What's that like? So let's imagine that. Let's imagine you're Mike or Mary here. It's Monday morning and you're sipping your coffee or tea, your beverage of choice, while you read an email that looks like this: a curated updates feed just on the projects you're interested in. And no, it's not just a block of text either. There's a summarized view of all active projects that you're following, color coding to see project statuses at a glance, and Loom videos, charts, etc. If this reminds you of a social media feed, that's right, except for one thing. Obviously with social media, there's always something more that you can be looking at with that infinite scroll. But in Team Central, you'll only get updates that you opt into just once a week. And you can find summaries of previous weeks too in the product. That's how we help you curate information to make it easier for you to focus on just what's most important right now. So, readers of updates, isn't this so much easier and organized for you to know exactly what you need to know without that additional noise? Now, all your readers have to do is to get all the update writers to use a system like this. Don't worry, writers. I promise I'm not asking you to do extra work. In fact, what if I told you we can get people to actually read your updates with less effort? All right. Remember when I told you how my old company had us write and send weekly updates? But without clear guardrails, it was like a slot machine, but much less exciting. I'd be getting random pings from status update emails, and some were even too long to even bother reading. True story. I once had a CTO who emailed such long essays for his retrospectives, A+ for effort, but honestly, I stopped reading them. Anyways, instead, Team Central can help everyone get synchronized together by asking project owners to write updates every Friday and delivering them to every follower's inbox the following Monday morning. That way, readers, you don't have to dig around your inbox searching for that update sent on Tuesday or was it Sunday night. This is especially great for people who just need to stay in the know without having to sign into a product to read those updates. Now, when it comes to sharing the latest news of what your team is up to, writers, this is for you. You can insert as much rich media to your heart's content, presentations, demo videos, GIFs, charts, however you feel helps you communicate most effectively. There's just one thing. There is a 280 character limit for your update. I promise it's a feature and not a bug. This ensures your updates are concise. By all means, write more in a link to a Confluence page or embed that rich media. Plus, we have a homepage for your project, which I'll get into later, where you can provide more context. But for your updates, keep it short and sweet. Your followers will thank you. How will you know? Well, readers, give your update writer some love by reacting and/or commenting on those updates. Isn't it funny how great a thumbs up emoji can make you feel? Yeah, people read your update. No more shouting into the void. Okay, zooming out again. For readers, it's easy to filter your updates feed by time period, status, project, or goal. But sometimes you want to get more information on a particular project or goal. So where can you find that? Let's explore a project view. We're going to click on this project link for Point A Marketing. So here on a project's homepage, you can see that same updates feed, but it's dedicated just to this initiative. Plus, you can find more information over here when you click on the About tab, where you'll see more context on the what, why, and how success will be measured. And over here on the side, it's easy to see who else works on this project and what goal this project contributes to. All right, so if we click on this goal, this goal link, excuse me, it has its own homepage, which is built pretty similarly to the project one. And like projects, you can also follow goals by clicking this button in the upper right-hand corner to get those updates incorporated into your personalized feed. All right, I've just scratched the surface about what Team Central can do, but I also want to take some time to address two of our most commonly asked questions from our community. How does Team Central work with Jira? Jira is great, isn't it? I love Jira. I mean, I've loved managing my team's works and our sprints with it. And that's because Jira is purpose-built for project management within a team. Realistically, though, as we've heard, we know not all teams may use Jira in the same way or even use Jira at all. So while Jira is great for intra-team communication, communicating within your team, Team Central is purposely built for inter or team-to-team communication on work. Team Central can help you communicate that right level of detail and collect the information you need to know in all in one place. So you don't need to dive into another team's Jira tickets, or for that matter, Asana tasks or status spreadsheets. I also want to call out something really important. Team Central is not for project planning because that's usually done in Jira roadmaps or other tools purposely built for planning, right? Team Central is for after the work is planned, and teams need to communicate with each other as the work is happening. And because of this, learnings gathered through this communication can then influence the next planning session. Okay, another question we get a lot, I already use Confluence. Do I really need Team Central too? I'm going to say something controversial. You might not need Team Central yet. Maybe you're already using Confluence to track project statuses and your updates. You've got your status lozenges all color-coded and customized. Your projects are organized in Confluence tables, and that works for you and your team. That's great. But you might find after you have more than 10 projects to keep track of that using Confluence tables or spreadsheets gets pretty unwieldy. Team Central can help keep track of your progress week over week much more easily, so you don't have to keep on adding more rows and columns to your tables. And of course, we also have handy Team Central embed features in both Confluence and Jira. So let's say you keep track of project statuses in a Confluence table that looks something like this. You can label your status with a green lozenge, but guess what? There's something even easier that you can do. What do I mean? Well, let's just copy and paste the link to your Team Central project, and it'll automatically embed with the latest status lozenge. That means writing your update in Team Central will automatically update your Confluence page. No repeat work. But what if I do you one better? What if you don't even have to create or maintain a table at all? Okay, let's go back to that project homepage and scroll down, and let's look at these tags. We're going to click on the tag for point A marketing, and you'll see all the projects that are labeled with it. Then after you copy and paste that link in your Confluence page, you're going to set it to display as embed. Voila, it'll automatically create this view of sharing updates without you having to make or maintain a Confluence table. Amazing. I think amazing. This is just one example of how we're building Team Central to be complementary to tools like Confluence, Jira, and non-Atlassian products too. You should work with the tools that best suit you and your team. Other teams at your company will have different preferences, whatever works best. The beauty is really the Team Central can fit into any existing work tech stack. Here's another example. In one of our recent conversations with the VP of product from an early adopter company that we had, we learned how he and some of his teams use Atlassian products, but not all of them did. Plus, other departments he worked with use different tools too. And in that conversation, he said, our teams have the choice in whatever they want to use daily, as long as they communicate with the rest of our company using our standardized format. And like a lot of us, he's realistic about how hard it can be to get teams to adopt new tools and new rituals. And I love this quote because it really captures that tension between giving teams enough autonomy to function, but also providing, again, those guardrails of a standardized communication format. So he and his team have signed up to see how Team Central can help replace their ritual of weekly posts in a dedicated MS Teams channel, which sounds a lot like my old company's weekly status update. And just like how different teams use different tools today, more than ever, we may also be in different locations, like today, right? You probably all have teammates across the country, the continent, the whole world. So with asynchronous communication, your teammates in different time zones can share updates without having to stay up late or get up early. And that way, when you do schedule those real-time meetings, you can save them for conversations and debates, not status monologues. We also recognize that as with any software, it's really less about the tool and more about how and why you and your teammates are using it for. We also believe teams work best in an open environment with free access to information. But we acknowledge that comes with the danger of too much information that can get very overwhelming very easily. That's where Team Central comes in. It helps you curate what you need to know when you need to know it. When we're talking to our early users, we're seeing how Team Central positively can change their ways of working. And that's so exciting, such as how to write a status update that people will read. Like how Jira was built to help people work within an agile framework, we're developing Team Central based on all the learnings we've gathered on understanding how networks of teams work and communicate. And this is all outlined in a framework we call the Loop. So if you're interested in learning more and how you can apply those learnings to your teams, I highly recommend checking out the Loop at Atlassian.com/loop. Alrighty, look, we are all living through some very crazy times with a lot of circumstances that are out of our control. Like I mentioned before, I started Atlassian 2 months ago, and it was my first time ever onboarding completely remotely as a new employee. And that's intimidating in a company that's what, over 6,000 employees now? It's a lot. It's a huge change, even more so, I feel, than transitioning from remote work after being in a physical office. But I know I do feel good about when I know there are things that I can change. And I found that being intentional in what and how I do things at work can make a big difference. So now on Monday mornings, I review my weekly summary from Team Central, and then I hop onto a weekly video call with my product marketing team, with Claire, with Mary, and everyone. And you know what? We use that time to just have a casual chit chat and catch up about our weekends. And then we also share our goals for the week, both professional and personal. So yeah, using Team Central not only helps relieve my mental load around sharing and getting updates, it helps give me that mental space to just focus. And it helps my team now have the time to have meetings that make me feel more connected as a fully remote and new employee. This is only the beginning for all of us, and we're so excited to share the start of this journey with you today. And I want to have a special thank you on behalf of Claire, Mary, and myself to Dilip, Andrew, Susan, Kamal, and Danny for inviting us to the session today. Yeah, I hope this was an informative and fun session on Team Central. If this piques your interest, go ahead, visit Atlassian.com/Team Central, where you can check it out for yourself and start using it today. And now, Mary and I are happy to open it up for questions.
That's great. Thank you so much, Vivian, for walking us through that and showing us some of those pretty cool features. The macro is actually new to me, so we'll take a look at that tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be able to embed that onto some Confluence pages and free up some time on staring at updates. So that's wonderful.
Awesome.
We do have some questions that did come in here. So how does Jira align with its emphasis on strategies, OKRs, etc.? How does that work with Team Central?
I'm happy to take that one. It's one we talk about a lot internally. I think the TLDR or the summary of that is that if your company-wide has standardized on Jira, then Jira Align really gives you an end-to-end view and top to bottom of the status of work, right? You can go from looking at a program level in the summary in Jira Align down to the task level. And if that's what it's likely like a PMO or your org is looking for, that traceability, then Jira Align is truly the best solution for you if you're standardizing on Jira. We know that Jira isn't the right solution for every team's work style. And so for companies some teams use Jira, some teams use Confluence, some Asana, some Basecamp, all the things. We find Team Central is a little bit more fluid across all of those use cases for managing workflows. And doesn't necessarily give you end-to-end traceability, to be honest with you, to put a feather in Jira Align's cap. Really more gives you cross-functional awareness and helps discover things for horizontal comms, less for vertical comms. Happy to dig deeper on that. Hopefully that answered the question.
Does anyone look for any clarity on the Jira line? I think that does make sense, Mary, to how you're parsing those two out. That's great.
Thanks for the feedback. it's an evolving, narrative and discussion, because we have internal teams who use Jira Align and internal teams who use Team Central. So some of it's how you manage your work stylistically. And, Atlassian's looking to cover that breadth of solution for teams.
And be able to adapt to whatever type of workflows and things that they're working through. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So any ideas as to the cost when it leaves beta? So when it's in beta, it's a free version. It seems very limited. So what does it look like when it gets into that next phase?
Yeah, this is our number one question on the community as well. So, no surprise that we're getting this question again. I think the thing I can tell you is not a number. I'm not trying to be opaque. We just haven't even landed on that yet. What I can tell you is that it'll model the same pricing mechanisms and, strategies of the rest of our products, where the cost is not prohibitively expensive. And, we do hope that you start using it with small teams and then grow to use it with more teams. So we understand that as that's the case, you're thinking of volume, and we don't want to price it at a point where it's prohibitive for you to use it across your entire organization. The goal of Team Central is to create and facilitate cross-team rhythms and communications. So those are kind of the philosophies I can tell you about how we're thinking about approaching this. The second thing I can say is we are looking to share with you what the pricing would be within the next 6 months, and we would not charge anybody for the following 6 months, right? So we would give you an ability to predict what your costs would be as your company would grow, kind of like if you look at Atlassian Access, they have a great model for helping you do that, but we wouldn't charge you until at least 6 months later. So that's the insights I have right now. And the best thing to do, I'll link it in this thing, is to follow that community article that explains how we're thinking about it. And it'll be the first place where we share more information as we have more insights. So I hope that answers it. I know I'm kind of not answering the question.
And for those that are using the Team Central platform now, will you send like a direct email to their accounts, or would they have to go to like a page? Okay.
Oh yeah, you'll get 100%. You'll get a direct email, so you can expect to have that in your inbox, communicated to you at least on 3 platforms: in the product itself, in your inbox, and on the community. And I actually am open to feedback on other places where you'd want to see that communication to make sure you get it. Please do let me know so we can make sure to cover all the channels.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
I actually have a question about the business project. Is that going to be a separate product that you have to pay for?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by a business project. Would you mind helping me understand, Samantha?
So that work management.
Jira Work Management?
Yeah. So the business project that can be created through Jira software development.
Yeah, I can probably.
Is that going to be something that I actually had asked this question if it's going to be supported, and it seems like support team says yes, but is that going to be a different product?
So it actually is a different product today. However, the way that you are accessing it today is that you have a Jira software license, which gives you a free license of Jira Work Management. And so you can access those business projects. But let's say you signed up today and you didn't have Jira software, you could actually go and just purchase Jira Work Management as a separate product.
I understand. So as a customer of the Jira software, you are still able to use this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I don't want to have to go and ask for to pay for another product. That's why I'm asking. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Great question, Samantha. Just looking back at the other questions we have here, Joe, you want to dive into the one you have here just to kind of bring the rest of the community in?
Yeah, basically, like I know there's like weekly updates that people do. but a lot of engineering teams also do daily updates, and it's usually like a half an hour every morning where everyone's just sitting around bored listening to what everyone else is working on. And I was curious if this was also meant to replace those kinds of updates.
I love that you say boring daily stand-up, Joe. It is not meant to replace your daily stand-up. Now, it may change what you talk about in the daily stand-up to make it less boring. But the stand-up typically, and maybe it's different within your teams, but our stand-up typically happens within a team. So within the group that is building the features of Team Central, we'd have a stand-up. And then Team Central is used to communicate at a bit higher level for our stakeholders who aren't in our daily Jira board, Confluence pages, stand-ups, to communicate to them, the key items of progress and the key areas of risk. So it's a wider audience and it's a different audience. So that kind of maybe answers the question. I also would say I think there's probably opportunity to do something different with your stand-up, which is fun things to talk about. I don't know if you're in the Team Playbook community group, but they talk a lot about that. There's a lot of coaches in there who help myself even think about how we redo that. Our team, the Team Central team, has redone our stand-up 3 times in the past 9 months because it was getting stale, and so I think there's a lot of opportunity to learn from other teams in the community, to be honest with you. That's who I learn from, is other teams.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question, Joan. Thank you, Mary.
Good question. Yeah.
See the 3 more questions here. So Dilip, looks as though you're looking for some best practices to get people to change their behavior and embrace Team Central.
Sure,
Yeah.
I can go more into detail. I think first is that I think what Samantha said, it's another tool, and I'm like, oh my goodness, right? Another tool that people gotta to manage, to pay for, obviously if you're the admin or just to understand. But I think in the end, as we know, it's always about people behavior. So I'm curious about how you work, within the Atlassian company to basically, kind of change your individual behaviors, right? And I was just kind of thinking, what are the things, right? You got to organize, you got to present, and you got to communicate the info. And I'm sure there's more, right? Disseminate to make sure people understand, right? A lot of things involved. So I'm curious if you have any kind of stories or just share things that you've seen.
I can share one story, and then Vivian may be able to add to it as she's kind of observed all this happening as well. One thing that we found is, just start small. But the key part of the comms, in terms of, to your point, communicating, presenting and showing the value, is what is this replacing? I think the tool fatigue, what we've found is the tool itself is pretty easy to use and people aren't resistant to oh my God, this is too complex. What they're resistant to is why am I doing this when I also have a meeting or I'm also doing it on Slack? So it's really making sure people know what this is replacing and truly taking that out, take it out. And then the other key thing that we found was getting people to react and actually follow things. So Vivian mentioned this in her presentation. It feels really good when somebody just gives you a thumbs up. And the previous way of working really was you send an email and nobody replies to it. You don't even know if somebody's reading it. And so getting the readers, Vivian talked a lot about writers and readers. You got to get writers on board, but really you got to get readers to actually read it and show that it's useful for them. And so the key way and the loop, if I had to give you in summary, the loop is the behavioral change stuff that we've done internally. It is that codified. And the key thing that you'll see across all of the loop assets are showing the before and after. So what is it like without this regular communication practice powered by Team Central? And why is it going to be better after? And Vivian gave us a taste of that with the diagram that showed updates happening Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from different teams, and then the synchronicity of updates happening with Team Central. And so really clarifying what the before and after is and how that's going to make people's lives better has been the key types of comms that have been most effective for us. What else, Vivian, have you found as you've watched more teams adopt it within Atlassian?
Actually, like I feel from a perspective of someone who's worked in a very different environment before, like I am like that use case of a before and after. And I think I talked about this in my presentation, but something that's really struck me was that Monday weekly meeting that I mentioned, that we're solely using that to catch up with each other and chit chat. That is something that it was such an alien concept to me, because in my last company, sure, we'll have meetings, but everything had, an agenda, purpose, and that kind of casual conversation that happens when you are working in the same physical office with other people, that's kind of lost, or then, you try to kind of bake that in and have a little like, hey, how's it going? Kind of chit chat, but then you're kind of bumping up on other people's meeting times, etc. And so it was such a sea change for me and luxury really to have this entire half hour just to connect, and I get to know a little bit more about my team members a little bit more, and I really credit just the ability that we don't have to talk about, I mean, we can obviously, like we will bring up and I say like, hey, I'll be working on XYZ, but it's giving again that kind of space, which was really helpful, is really helpful for me in connecting with a really cool and fun team, if I say so myself, here. And yeah, I'm only 2 months in, but I already feel like, yeah, I understand what it's like to be an Atlassian without having to be physically in an Atlassian office.
Great, thank you. You know what? I found the loop. I'm sorry, just to follow up. I discovered that when I was investigating it, and I was very confused initially because I'm so used to the playbooks, and I was trying to kind of link it, and there was no links there. And I was like, okay, is this like a new version? And so maybe just some feedback there, try to connect it, because that site just looks so different than the team plays, because I thought that's what I expected. Correct. And I kind of bookmarked because I do want to go back and read it, and you're right. I think that's great that you folks have figured out that you need to have the behavior, and that's great, Mary. You said like, okay, the loop is the behavior change that you can expect. So it's a good way to think about it. Thank you.
Dilip, thank you for that feedback. I'd love to talk to you and as a side conversation to get that feedback, because the goal is to bring together all of our ways of working, including the playbook, including the Agile microsite and the loop. This was actually an experiment to understand, is this way of thinking and organizing the information more or less easy to comprehend than the playbook? And so I'd love to just follow up on that, because it's a constant learning journey for us.
About my organization. So we're very, very Slack heavy organization. So a lot of communication happens in Slack. So what is it that one can say that the Team Central is an advantage in addition to Slack? What is the selling point?
Vivian, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, and of course, Mary, you can also add to it. I think for me personally, Slack is, it's great. I love Slack. And it's kind of like that next evolution of email, but sometimes I do find it very hard to find exactly like who said what in which channel. And I was like, oh, I know I had like an action item to do something, or someone asked me a question. And then if you have, 50 Slack messages to go through and you accidentally read it, or that notification goes away, and all of a sudden I'm like, uh-oh, I don't know what channel it was. And I've found that to be kind of the biggest advantage of a place where Team Central is organized, by projects and goals. And so if someone asked me a project about our, fiscal year 22 marketing plan, I better go to that particular project and be able to answer that question within the context. Sometimes, I think that helps kind of organize information and helps you surface it a lot easier. Slack is the new email time suck. Yes.
Yeah, it's really funny because Slack stands for searchable log of all communication and knowledge. So what you're saying is exactly against what their name is. So it's an acronym for searchable log of all communication and knowledge.
I know. I
And you
mean,
cannot search it.
yeah, you totally can search. I know like that within Slack. Again, I think it all goes back to what I said earlier about is really how and why you use it. And different teams and different companies and organizations will use a communication tool like Slack in different ways. I think Team Central can really help with the kind of organization and aggregation of information. That is a place where you can be more proactive as opposed to reactive. I find that I'm really reactive in Slack. I'm always like, I got to get back to that person real quick. Whereas Team Central is kind of like a place where you can visit and know that your work is organized in projects and goals. And yeah, I'm curious, like Mary, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think you said it really well, Vivian. I'm going to try to answer the next question too. One, also, we have an integration with Slack, which you probably already know. So you can get your updates in a Slack channel or subscribe a Slack channel. So we actually believe that you should be able to consume updates from Team Central in wherever you live, wherever you start your day. If you start your day in your email inbox, fine. If you start your day in your Slack, it's going to arrive to Slack at the same time and you get the same digest, right? So the main differentiator between Slack and Team Central, which we think are complementary to one another, is that Team Central has very structured data sets that are going to be easier to build reports on when you have this aggregation of project data and you can extract some insights from them. So I'm sure you guys are super powerful JQL users. Think about Team Central. You have the timeline, you have the contributors, you have the update status changes and the date changes. Let's say you're 6 months in. Now you have this full repository of these structured data sets about all these projects in your org that you can use to help, as Vivian said, you're planning for future projects. So your predictability and consistency and learnings improve. Whereas Slack is totally searchable, but those aren't structured objects within Slack like they are in Team Central, which kind of speaks to some of the features coming soon, which is we know there's all these nuggets of gold in Team Central that, yes, are searchable, but advanced reporting is something we hear that people want. So that's things that we're working on. A directory of work based on your org chart. So you could subscribe to things by department. You can look at who, have labels that are structured and built in by marketing. You can have custom fields in there, stuff like that. Those are things we're thinking about. And then we're even extending more and more use cases to help service teams as well. So within your team profile, the ability to say, hey, if you want to get help from my team, my team provides a service for you. Here's a pointer to our service desk, or here's a pointer to our Slack channel. Here's how to best reach me, and here are the services we provide, in addition to here are the projects and goals that we're working on.
Great, thank you. That's helpful.
Great. Thank you, Mary. You actually touched on the last question that we had there, which was what other features can folks consider that will be added to the product? So the reporting, that's going to be a big one in searching. Also being able to follow by department, that sounds pretty awesome, because we spend a lot of time having to follow each individual project. So if everyone was brought into that single team, you could just follow the project managers and you get all those great updates. So that's really great to see.
Thank you. We're excited. Totally watch this space. We'll keep sharing in the community. We do share more in the community and in product than we do via email. So, again, open to feedback on what channels you guys are most interested in getting updates in. But our first default is always the community.
That's great.
Just out of curiosity, is it AI or machine learning driven?
At this point, we have light AI machine learning stuff that we've kind of built ourselves. We haven't employed any specific bot or AI. We've kind of just homegrown everything. And we've leveraged everything across the Atlassian platform. So we use everything within any machine learning and AI that's available in Jira or Confluence is foundationally built in the platform often. And so we kind of just build off on top of that to accelerate us, which we think is kind of a differentiator for us compared to if, to go back to point A, compared to if a net new startup was building this, we benefit from, the Atlassian platform's investment in AI as opposed to us having to make that trade-off decision within our product feature set. So we believe you guys get a richer feature set because we can leverage the Atlassian platform, which is true for all Point A products.
Mary, the answer should always be yes, there is AI.
I also don't like to oversell how smart something is, like I'm not that marketer who's like AI in everything. I'm Vivian and I are pretty realistic about this too. So we're not trying to tell you that something is smarter than it is.
Yeah, AI is tricky. So yeah, I totally agree with you. You don't want to oversell it. Yeah. But you're right. I think the historical data and all the users who had used the Atlassian product, you guys definitely have that advantage. Yeah.
Thanks for your question, Samantha.
Thank you.
So we got a couple other questions, and then we'll have to get to the quiz, so no one can forget all the great content that was put into the presentation. I know so you get very intricate there, and some of those questions are challenging, I would imagine. So we'll wrap up the questions here, and then we'll go into the quiz. But it looks as though will this be available for the data center users at any point in time?
No, that's not on the roadmap right now. I think there are really good vendors in the Atlassian marketplace. Deezer is one of them. I know, and I'm sure there's some other things around Valiantus and our other sponsors today, and or solution partners who can help custom build some things for you. But I would encourage you, if you're a data center user, to look to the solution partners for help there, and it's not on our roadmap right now.
Okay. The last two here that we've got from Sean. Is OKR a good use case for Team Central or not? Is there anything else you want to add to that?
I can answer it.
Just I'm using OKR software, and both products are similar. Weekly updates. I'm using the Tability, which is ex-Atlassian develops in Australia, and it's updates on every Monday instead of a Friday, Team Central. So yeah, just curious about a difference.
Yeah, I love Tability too, and I love the founders of it. They're great guys. And their newsletter is great too. They have great insights on OKRs for anybody looking at that. Yes, Team Central is a good use case for OKRs. Right now, when you look at goals, you have goals and sub-goals, and that's intended to be flexible for any goal-setting framework that you're using. We know that people have different frameworks. The newsletter is Tability. Tability is a solution partner or a marketplace app, and it's great as well. In terms of OKRs for Team Central, right now you have to use the goal and sub-goal. Goal as an objective, sub-goal as a KR. And that represents OKRs. In the future, we have shipped a version internally that we're testing to truly enable you to score your KRs and then summarize that score automatically for the objectives. So we call it like an OKR mode. We're testing that internally right now, so I can tell you it's coming soon. And in terms of, is it a good use case? Yes. I think you mentioned Tability. You update projects on Monday, and it's a weekly cadence. We, within our framework, we use weekly project updates because projects kind of roll into goals. You can have supporting projects for sub-goals and goals. And then we do a monthly cadence of KR scoring, and you get a monthly digest. So those are on two different cadences that we feel are complementary to one another.
Great, awesome. Thank you for that question, Sean, and Mary for that insight. That's awesome. We haven't had a chance to use much of goals and sub goals on our end, but definitely we'll take a look at that, and hopefully it helps us with our OKRs. And the last question we have is, it's anonymous. So our status reporting is all on spreadsheets, which heavy use of RAG blocks. Do you see that being handled well in Team Central?
You're the whoever asked this. Thank
Susan,
you.
that's me. That's Susan. Our legacy company that bought us. They live on spreadsheets, and their whole reporting is just a series of spreadsheets with blocks of color. It's ridiculous.
You are the perfect team to use Team Central. I say that from personal experience. We used to do our red, amber, green status reporting in either Confluence tables that were color coded or spreadsheets. We heard the same from Canva. They were doing it in spreadsheets. At some point, they become outdated. It just becomes, and it's too cumbersome to update. There's like so many, rows, you're command effing. It's a nightmare. We believe teams who are at the point where their spreadsheet is unruly are the perfect teams to try Team Central. Those are the teams we've seen get the most benefit out of it because they're looking for a little bit more structure and they already have a process in place. So this is just adding a little bit more delight and ease and less friction to that process. I would say that that's the perfect tipping point to move into and try Team Central.
Thank you.
That's perfect. I didn't even know what RAG blocks meant, so I learned something new today. Red, amber,
yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I'm with Philippe on that one in the chat. So, and the last question we have here before we go into the quiz is from Tony. So can any of these tools be used to conduct and capture retrospectives? Is there anything else, Tony, you want to add to that?
Not really. We use retro.io right now, which is great, but if I get any action items out of it, I have to then key them into Jira.
Tony, this is my favorite question because this is my dream next feature. We have talked about including retros in Team Central, both health monitors and retros. So retros, just the difference being retros would focus on, your last project and the learnings from that. And then what we would like to do using a little AI is help surface those learnings for future related projects, right? So if I'm doing a go-to-market launch campaign for a beta launch and, Alex on my team starts a new project, we can surface those learnings from, the retro that I did in Team Central to him so that he can be like, Mary messed up these 3 things, better not mess up, right? As opposed to him having to learn the hard way, the lessons I already learned the hard way. So it's something we're actively thinking about, but I wouldn't say it's on the roadmap for the next 6 months, just something we're all super excited about. And maybe, to reference back to Claire's what we do for innovation, maybe something we end up building and ship it, and hopefully shipping soon because there's a lot of passion around that.
It's great. Yes, definitely seeing some retrospects of it in there would be awesome. So thank you everyone for the questions. Thank you, Mary, for fielding all those points, and Vivian for the wonderful presentation. So with that, we can go right into our quiz. Hopefully everyone paid very, very close attention to all the points that were covered in those slides. So for all those that have jumped on to the quiz section, I see that we have pretty healthy list there. So Susan, is there anything else that we want to cover over here? I know that we're all pretty well versed in the Slido side.
Danny's just getting it ready. We want to make sure everybody's in, and just to remind that partners and Atlassians are welcome to play along, although probably not going to give you one of the key prizes, but the more the merrier, because this makes it really fun. So the quiz is when the question comes up, you get points for how quickly you answer it, not just for getting it right. There are a series of multiple choice. There's partial of them are on Point A and the other part are on Team Central. And they're fun. And unfortunately, I already saw them, so I'm not going to play. Saw the answers, that is. Okay, so are we ready?
Yeah, if you're ready, Susan, I'll start it now.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
How do we
wait.
answer?
So did you,
Slido?
yeah, did you go in there? 'Cause I
Yeah,
see your
so
name
do I
there.
type my answer into the type your question?
No, if
Danny,
you
do you want to
switch,
explain?
yeah, if you switch to the poll tab, you'll get a multiple choice and you just select it. So we haven't started
Okay.
it yet, but once we
Oh, okay,
start
okay,
it,
got it.
you'll
got
see
it.
it and then
Yeah.
you just select it. You'll have 20
Oh.
seconds on each one.
Okay.
Yeah, so if any of you were already still on the Q&A side of the Slido, push yourself over to the polls side. So it's just on the blue top ribbon. You go to
Yeah,
polls.
thanks for clarifying that, because I was also confused as well. But yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
everyone is.
Yeah,
everyone
because
over to
there's
polls.
nothing there when you go to polls.
I
That's
know, there's
why.
nothing there because the
Yeah.
questions haven't started yet. They're going to. All right.
So
Are
if
we
everyone's ready, we'll start it now. And good luck.
Okay. Good luck, everyone. Here we go. All right. Atlassian has 4 internal innovation programs. Which isn't one of them? Point A, Innovation Week, Ship It, 27% time, or Atlassian Ventures. You're going to pick the one that it isn't. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hope you got your answers in.
Where was
Woo!
FedEx there? FedEx is missing from this finger.
Everybody was paying attention. There is no Atlassian Ventures. Very good. All right. Let's go to the next question. When new products are in the impact phase of the Point A framework, they are trying to reach what? Product market fit, business model fit, solution problem fit, or proof of concept? That's a hard one. 4, 3, 2, 1. Get your answers in. I think this will be harder. Oof. Okay. Most thought it was the product market fit. Let's see if they're right. No, business model fit. There we go. Very good to the people that got that one right. Good thing we're not name shaming yet. So. Okay, let's go on to the next. When Point A product launched GA, general availability at Team 21 last year. Sorry, which one? Team Central, Jira Work Management, Hulp, or Compass? So which one had the general availability if you attended Team 21 Summit? And I did. And I think I know the answer to this one. Jira Work Management. That's what I would have said. Yep. Yay. Very good. You guys are paying attention. Okay. On to the next. Fill in the blank. Products are intended for prospective customers to try out upcoming products, ensure that they function as expected, and for product teams to collect feedback on product market fit. Alpha, beta, gamma, or GA? Fast. This one's fast. Oof. I don't know. I think that was hard. I think it's alpha. Yes. Woo! Very good. That was a hard one, guys. Okay. Going on to question number 5. Which of the following best describes the use case for Team Central? Project planning, knowledge sharing and documentation, team-to-team communication, all of the above. Don't you hate it when you put those all of the aboves in, huh? And the answer is team-to-team communication. It's not used for project planning or knowledge sharing. That's right. It's just keeping your teams informed. Okay.
These are good interview questions as well, I see.
Question 6. How can I filter my Team Central updates feed? By time period, week or month, by status, by project or goal, or all of the above? Do, 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 do. It's the first time I got that in. Do, 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 do. That's what I would have gone for. I think I was paying attention. Yes, all of the above. That's right. Very flexible, Team Central. Many choices. Okay, number 7. What is the character limit for writing a status in Team Central? Ooh, 200, 250, 280, or 300? That's a tricky one. I don't know how many people are paying attention to the character limit on that one. Or think like, is it a Twitter limit? Most people think it's 280. And they're right. You people are far more paying attention than I was. Very good. Last question, make or break it. What is the team-to-team communication framework that Team Central is based on? The Loop, Agile, Operating Rhythms, Kanban. I think we're all going to get that one because I think Mary talked it up a lot. Just saying. do 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 bum 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 bum. Yes, the Loop. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Hope everybody really enjoyed playing along with our quiz. Now we get to see the results, right, Danny? Congratulations. Oh my God, Dilip. What are you doing up there?
I wanted to say that Confluence is the best. Right? That's what I wanted to say.
Claire, of course you were going to get them all right. Of course you were. All right, so the first two are knocked
unfair
out.
because I'm a product manager, so some of these things I love, right? In terms of how Mary and Claire describe some of these things. I was paying attention.
So we have lots of prizes to give out. So we have, I think, how many prizes? 9 prizes to give out. The first 2 are eliminated. So then we're going on to Andy, Vilius, Joe. You want to like scroll down a bit for the next 6, and we'll be capturing these ones. Now,
Yeah, so I can't show it on the screen, but I have it. So how many more did you need, Susan? In 6th was Kathy H, then Howard, then Tony, and Martin was in 9th. Is that you need 9, or did you need more than that? I can send you the full list.
Well, we need to tell them because so they can get in touch with us or drop us what we need from our winners is for them to send in the chat to who do we do this to, Andrew? Because we don't usually do it this way. We usually have them email us.
Yeah, they can just put their email directly into the Zoom chat to either Dilip, Kapil, myself, or Madhu, and then we can get them in contact with the vendor.
Okay, so we need emails from Andy Gladstone, Vilius, Joe, who's number 6?
Kathy.
Kathy. 7.
Then 7 is Howard.
Howard. 8
is Tony.
Yep.
9 is Martin.
Okay, we still need 3 more, I think.
10 is John. 11 is Araf.
Okay.
And 12 is Samantha.
Perfect. Woo. All right. So
and just
evidently you have to
just
put
to shame him, Madhu came in last. So I want it to be very clear.
It turns out you have to hit send, and I didn't send twice.
Oh no. Oh no. Samantha, get your name in there. You're getting a prize. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. There we got lots of prizes, and you get a prize for playing along. Thank you. That's awesome. All right, turning it back over to you, Andrew.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all for the fun and exciting times that we had here today. Yeah, that quiz was very, very challenging. I was trying to go back and remember the answers, and you know, I did have a couple of flubs there, so I probably would have been with you, Madhu, right there at the bottom. So that does conclude our event for tonight. Thank you again, Claire, Vivian, Mary, for your time, giving us a good insight into Point A, as well as a deep dive into that Team Central platform. I think we all learned a lot of really cool things, and we're very excited to see what Point A comes with down the road. It looks like a very, very great program. For those that are interested, you know, it's up there on the Atlassian site to jump on, take a look at some of those products. But I will open it up to the forum for anyone else to sort of chat, you know, connect with each other as members. I will just throw out there the icebreaker of, does anyone use those tools? Does anyone use the Team Central or Jira Work Management? Is anyone now interested in taking a look at those tools?